Hi everyone, it's Melissa from Scrap That. Super excited to be here doing this mega make and take with you guys today. We are really excited to do our project, which is this adorable little wooden tag that you can use on gifts or hang in your house as decor, hang on your tree as an ornament. It's just adorable and you can use it in so many ways. So let's get started. First, let's unpack our little bag of goodies and see what we got. All right, so I'm gonna set that aside. And in your Mega Make and Take kit, you should have received one large, this is the banner tag, and then you're gonna get one smaller wooden bracket tag. You should have one piece of this adorable gingerbread paper that comes from the Fancy Pants Decor Home for Christmas collection, which is on our website if you wanna see the entire paper pack. And this sheet of paper, which also came out of that. Both are double-sided. For today's project, we're gonna use the gingerbread houses and the gingham plaid. So that is in there. As well, you should have received a black or a white wooden paper file, our adorable little gingerbread man, and our little sentiment tag. And then you're gonna have a little piece of twine, some pop dots, and of course some adorable little gemstones. And those we're gonna just set aside. We don't need them to start. So let's get started on this adorable little project. I'm gonna set our original one aside, and then the first things that you wanna do are glue down your paper to your wooden elements. And as you know, if you've watched me before, my most favorite thing is the glue stick, especially when it comes to the wood. It just is, wet adhesive works best. These glue sticks come in a 2-pack and are available under the adhesives on our website. But one thing that you want to do first is to glue them down, because we want to let them have a little bit of time to cure. So we want to make sure that the glue sets up. So that's our first step. So I'm going to start with the gingerbread paper and glue that one down. Now you have two options. For me, I'm going to use my craft knife and I'm going to cut after it's glued. Or the other option is that you trace your element onto your paper, onto the reverse side if you would like. Trace it out and cut it, fussy cut it first, and then glue it down. If you do it that way, that's fine. We're going to sand it down at the end once it's set up, and then you'll be able to get rid of some of the little edges if it's not perfect. I enjoy doing it the other way, and so I'm gonna glue mine down first, and then I'm gonna cut off the edges. So to start with, I'm gonna layer some glue onto my wood. I'm also gonna layer some glue onto my paper because wet to wet sticks best. So if we do it on both sides, that gives us a better tacky. I'm not gonna worry about the two little holes that are here because I'm gonna go back when I'm finished using my crocodile and punch those out. So let's just go ahead and get a little bit of glue laid down onto the wood, covering it all up. And then we're gonna set that right here for a second. And I know that I want my paper to lay like this, so I'm going to put some glue, for the most part, on here. And this should give it a couple of seconds to start to get tacky. And then we are going to place it down. So I want to line up the two edges. And again, it doesn't need to be perfect. The closer I get to one edge just means that it's less cutting, less trimming with my craft knife at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Flip it over and just sort of push it down and make sure that it's stuck down there. And then we're gonna set that to the side and do the next one. So like I said, I'm gonna do the little bracket tag in this adorable gingham. You can do it in the holly berries if you'd like, or you can do it in the gingham, whichever you prefer, because it is your project. So I wanna make sure you like the patterns that you choose. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and glue this down. And if you would like, you could certainly do the fussy cutting first and then glue it down. I'm gonna put some glue on the back of this one as well. And then we're gonna stick that on here. Perfect. Now, because I chose to not fussy cut first, I definitely want to let that set up a little bit. Otherwise, when I go to trim it out using either a small pair of detail scissors or a craft knife, I don't want it to shift if it's loose from the glue. I want to make sure that it is secure on there. So I'm going to let that set up and cure for a few minutes while I do something else. So the next items that we need to do are the fussy cutting part. We need to trim out our Gingerbread Kisses and Warm Winter Wishes tag, as well as our gingerbread tag. I'm going to definitely leave a little border around the gingerbread. So now we can just go ahead while our tags are drying, our wood elements are drying, and go ahead and fussy cut out using my small detailed scissors. And this is not one of my favorite things to do. Fussy cutting is not my forte, but we're going to go ahead and do that while we wait and let our wood elements set up a little bit. So let's take a moment to do this. This adorable little gingerbread. I don't know if fussy cutting isn't my thing because I'm left-handed, and I don't know if it's just I oddly cut with my right hand, and not really sure. Just certainly not my favorite. If you have a scan and cut or something like that, you can certainly run it through there. Okay. So I'm using our small detailed scissors, which are really good for this kind of a thing. And they too are available on Scrap That. It's scrap-that.myshopify.com, and they are under the tools in there. And they are reasonably priced little detail scissors, perfect for your stash of little scissors. Okay, so that is my little gingerbread man. We're going to set him aside, and then we're going to cut out our little tag. Love this little saying. And again, I'm going to leave a slight border around my tag. Okay. And this project is just so adorable and can be used for so many little things. Now, also, I'm going to show you that if you're interested, you can add some distressing to it using a chalk writer, which wasn't included in our project today, but certainly an option for everyone to do if they would like to add a little bit of that kind of rustic distress look to this. So let's go almost done here. The other thing too is if you're like me and you can't kind of get the edges perfect, our little wooden file, which is for paper and wood, you can certainly, look at the magic of the file, even though it's not wood. I'm just going to go around these little edges where I've left kind of, I didn't do such a great job getting them rounded on the corners. And just gently shaving down that paper a little bit, I can get back to my perfectly rounded little edge. So that's what I'm going to do. So this is this handy little file, which comes either, we had either black or white, small files, small paper and wood files. You can totally do this, but this you just need to be gentle when you're not using it on the wood or on the paper that's adhered to the wood. So just using it on paper is totally an option. You just have to do it gently. So I think round right here a little bit more, and you can see how easily that works. Okay, perfect. That really helps for people who dexterity-wise are not great at the fussy cutting like me. All right, so now we have that done, and I'm going to just kind of fix his head a little bit here and round him up a little bit also. And again, this is so simple to do. You just want to do it gently because you definitely will tear your paper if you're too rough with the file when it's not on the wood. Okay, so now my little people, my little gingerbread man is just about perfect. Get that little piece off. Okay, he looks adorable, ready to go. So now we're going to go back and trim up our banner and bracket. I am using the craft knife or the detailed scissors, depending on which is easier for you and which is your preference. Sometimes I find the craft knife is great. I'm doing it right on my self-healing mat, so no worries with that. This one is the easy one. The bracket one is a little bit tougher to do. So just going to go back in there and take out a little bit of the edge. Don't worry if you get the wood at all. It's just made of MDF, so it is a little bit soft and you will be able to cut through it, but it's not a big deal. So here we go, perfect. And just by setting it aside for a few minutes and letting that glue set up and cure helped so that when we were trimming, we didn't end up pulling at the paper at all. And now to do the bracket one, again, using my craft knife, which is available on the website, comes with 3 additional blades. I'm gonna this one I just do a little bit at a time to get those curves in there. It's just easier, I find, if I just do a little bit and continue to spin it. And follow the contour of the bracket as I go. Again, I don't want to pull the paper too hard if it's not cut, because I don't want to tear my paper. So I'm just going to slowly go through it and spin it. Now I've completely moved my self-healing mat as I'm spinning. All right, see, that's what I'm trying to avoid, is pulling the paper. So I'm going to do just a little at a time to avoid that. And we are almost done. Okay, and now here's a perfect example of why you need to file these down. So once you finish cutting, the edges of the bracket definitely need to be spruced up a little here with our knife. So, with our file. So we're going to take our file and go through and just take the edges off. And you want to just be kind of gentle about this in this downward motion, definitely, to avoid, you don't want to go up because you're going to pull your paper up and tear it. So you want to pretty much go in a downward motion and go around all of your edges so that you can give it a smooth finish. And by doing this, you're giving the appearance that the wood and the paper have been produced together versus I just glued it down. So I'm going to go back into where it's a little bit rough there and keep going till I get it as smooth as I want. and taking out all the little pieces of paper that are in here. All right. Okay, now that looks so much better. Here's one, just an example of one that I didn't file down yet, and how you can see that the edges are still kind of jagged, and then now I've made them smooth. Now the other thing that I wanted to talk about is making the appearance of a little bit more rustic. You can do that by going into the wood now. Once you have your edges done, and you take your file, and now you're going along the edge and pulling down. I'll show you up close. Here's a little piece that needs to come out a little bit further. Then I'm going to go down along it. I might need to go back in, maybe trim this little bit with my scissor off, or my knife. Okay. There we go. So now by just dragging my file along the edges and kind of taking away the outer layer of the paper, so leaving just the core of the paper on the edges, which I enjoy and I think gives a beautiful kind of rustic element to it. And I'll show you again on the other one that we've done that hasn't been filed down, so you can see the difference. So yeah, I just want to keep going till I get these little pieces of paper out of the way. And then I'm going through and roughing up all these little edges. And you can continue on to do this until you get it kind of to the way that suits your liking, whether you want to drag more of the white in and file down a little bit more of the edges. See how that tends to now disappear, the paper or the pattern on the paper, and I'm getting more of the white core of the paper to come through. And I can continue doing this until, you know, it's to the way that is my liking, which for now, I think this is perfect. You can see the difference between just cutting it and not filing it. So I just want to show you, I'm going to file this little part on one that's been done, and I want to just show you that you can also take your chalk writer. I'm going to set that aside for a second, and this is an option. I'm going to do it on the separate one, not on our completed one that we're working on. But if you wanted to take your chalk writer, a black chalk writer, and a finger dauber and go through the edges, you can do that and add a little bit more of a rustic look. So this is also another option. Again, this isn't the one that I filed, so this has a little bit of the rougher edges, but that gives it that little distressed look on the edges, and I love that look. So you can leave it white, or you can then go ahead and distress it. And depending on the finished project or the finished look that you are going for, this is also an option. So let's set this aside again, and now we're going to finish our banner tag, which is our background tag. And again, doing the same thing, because we've already cut that one down. So doing the same thing, we're just going to go through. And this one is much simpler because of the shape. And I'm going to rough up the edges. And also this one, you can go ahead and distress if you would like to do that too, if you have our wonderful chalk writers. So these, I'll talk about them in one second, but I'll show you again. So our chalk writers, they come in 15 colors, and I can rattle them all off for you. They are red, black, white, yellow, neon green, a neon orange, a deep purple, a hot pink, an electric pink, a neon blue, an electric blue, a silver, a gold, a copper, and a bronze. And they all are just perfect. They work like gelatos. They are single-sided, so this part is the turn part, like a lipstick. They're not double-sided. They only come with, mine's well used, but they come with a rounded tip, and you can just turn them up, turn them down. They write wonderfully on things like plastic mirror, glass, any washable surface, whiteboards, a chalkboard, blackboards, anything like that that you can wash off. They work perfectly on. If you put them on a project like we are, then they are permanent. So on a porous surface, they stay and become permanent. The more color you put on, the little bit longer they will take to dry. So again, I had done this one and added some black distressing to it, which I love the way that looks in comparison to the plain one that we just finished. So it's up to you on what you like and what you prefer. I put mine on with a finger dauber, which is perfect too. Kind of helps keep the mess down a little bit. So if you're interested, again, those are on the website under chalk writers. So that's what that is, and they work wonderfully on a project like this. And when we go to put it together, we can see what the difference looks like. So again, back to finishing this part of it, we're just gonna go through, where's my file again, and just finish it up. And again, if you wanted to add the chalk to this, you certainly can do that. And then we're just gonna go through and again, bring out just a little bit of that white core. I think that just looks wonderful. And again, makes the project look like the wood and the paper kind of come together. See how you can see that? Now again, when you're filing, you might take a little bit of that dark edge away, but using either a black marker or your chalk, you can go in and fill that in if you'd like, if you prefer. So now we have our 2 wood elements done, and I am going to get out my crocodile at this point, and I'm going to put the holes in so that when I go to assemble it, I know where the holes are. So I'm just going to flip this over and find the holes, which I'm going to line up and just poke through so that we don't cover that. Perfect. So now we have our 2 holes for our twine. So when I go to place down my little bracket tag, I know where I am centered. So here's the difference if you want to take a look at what the difference looks like. Here's one that is not distressed, and here is one that is distressed. And I do enjoy the distress. I think it kind of makes the bracket pop off of the background. So I think I'm gonna use that one. So also, you know, if you want to go ahead and check those out, feel free. So I'm going to add just a little bit more. I know you guys don't have this, but you can use any kind of an ink if you wanted to distress yours. So we're going to place that down pretty much in the center so that my edges line up. And either using your adhesive or your pop dots, whichever you prefer, you're going to attach your bracket to your banner tag. And I'm going to use my glue stick again. Probably should peel this off, but we're just going to ignore that right now. And we're going to lay down a layer of the glue stick onto the bracket tag. And then I'm just going to put some right in the center here where I know this is going to be. And then you kind of want to like just make sure that it gets a little bit of tacky going. And we are going to place that down. Again, we're going to line it up. Want to get all our dust particles from our filing off. And we're going to line that up center to the point and in the middle of our circles, just like that. Perfect. Now we have left our little gingerbread man and our warm wishes tag. I'm just going to brush off all our filing here. It's kind of like being at the nail salon. All right, so we want to put these 2 things down. And I'm going to use your pop dots. Everyone has a little bit of pop dots, or you can break into your stash of pop dots. And we're going to add a few to the back of our gingerbread tag. Gingerbread kisses and warm winter wishes. I'm just going to put a few of these down. One in the center so it doesn't look like it's caving in the middle. Okay. Love these pop dots. These are a smaller version, but we carry many sizes all the way down to micro that you need a set of tweezers to be able to use those. Okay, so I'm going to kind of place this more towards the upper right corner of my project, leaving room for my little gingerbread to hang out towards the bottom. So now I've done that, and then we're going to go ahead and use our pop dots, and we're going to attach our little gingerbread man. I'm going to put him down next. I want to make sure that I don't see my pop dots on the other side. I know I'm probably using a little too many for this little gingerbread man, but that's okay. Okay, now none of them show through, so I'm going to go ahead, pick these off, and I'm going to kind of put him a little bit on an angle on the bottom corner of my bracket. Now this is just the way that I set it up, but there's plenty of different ways for you to do it if you would like. You can put the gingerbread here. You can center your little sentiment tag. It's totally a personal preference because again, this is your project. So you don't have to make it look exactly like mine. That's the beauty of it. So I'm going to put mine right down here in the lower corner. And then we have these adorable little beautiful gemstones left over because everybody needs a little bit of bling. These are actually all in one strip. So you can either separate them one at a time using your scissor or your craft knife or your little poker. I'm going to use my knife and I'm going to add some just to his buttons on his little gingerbread right here. And I can just hold it down and pull one. And then they easily come apart. To clean my knife off there. Okay, then I'm going to do it again. Hold it down and just pull it apart. You can do this with the tip of your scissor or your little, if you have the little gemstone poker, which is always helpful. You can use that. I'm going to scooch that back where I want it, covering up the little red. Perfect. Look how adorable that gingerbread looks. Now I have a whole bunch left, so I think I'm just going to kind of follow suit in what we did on our demonstration on our sample one. And I'm going to lay some down. So let's see if I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here. Push those down, and then I'm going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to use the edge of my knife again to just cut the adhesive, separate them, and then pull them off. And then let's put another 5 down on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then using your tip of your scissor or your knife, just gently pull them and separate them. Look how beautiful. Then let's see, what do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. So we're going to do 4 and 4. And we're going to put 4 here and 4 here just to give a little bling to our bracket. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Then separate and pull. See how easy that is? These gemstones are so easy to use, and they are listed under the embellishments on our website. So now I'm just going to go ahead and add 4 right here. Perfect. We're almost done, and the last thing to do is add our twine. I'm going to do mine front to back because I'm going to leave the twine just hanging in the front a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put it down, put it through front to back. You could do it the other way too. And then you won't have this little part, but I kind of like that. So I'm going to leave mine like that. And then we are going to just tie it in a bow. Even it out. Perfect. Just shrink this side down a little bit. Okay, perfect. Look at that. And now we're all completed, and we can use this as a gift tag if you want. You can put another piece of paper on the other side and write a gift tag if you'd like, or you can use it as an ornament or as a door hanger in your house during the holidays. It's so versatile, so adorable. We are so excited that we got to do this project with you. And we would love for you to visit us anytime at our Scrap That Facebook page. Join our Facebook group, and you can check out what Bob and I have got going on. We do a lot of what you're crafting today, and we check out what you're crafting, and you can check out what we're crafting. And we'd always love to see you there. If you're looking for the directions for this, if you need them or haven't gotten them, you can always find the directions for all of our classes on our Facebook Scrap That Facebook classes group, it's Scrap That Classes, and you can join that by clicking on the visit group button on our Scrap That Facebook page. And you can see anything else that you need on our website at scrap-that.myshopify.com. And we hope to see you again soon. Thanks for crafting with us.